Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Move Better podcast. I am Dr. Joe. We are here from Spine Health Functional Therapies at SHFT in Westlake, Daly City, and this is John from Network Exercise Solutions. Today, we're going to be talking about New Year's resolution solutions, some reasons why people fail, and how we can fix that. We got some tips and tools for you guys for today that we will be going over to help you guys stay on track, not just for the first 2 weeks, but maybe the first few years. So without further ado, let's get this going.
Yeah, so like what, 80% of most New Year's resolutions are never met. Yep. or they fail, simply put. But why is that? And why is it that every year people even try to attempt to set New Year's resolutions?
I understand we have the holidays, we have all of these things that we got to get through. But if we're understanding the benefits of what health is, we won't wait. We won't be pushing it off, right? So, right, in that case, like...
Yeah, but most people know what's healthy and unhealthy. And I mean, there's details of like, all right, this food might not be healthy. But for the most part, right, everybody knows we got to exercise. Everybody knows we got to eat right? But we always wait for like, oh, I'm going to do it January 1st.
So setting that goal.
Right, so they're going to say, all right, here's my New Year's resolution. And we kind of fall into this New Year's resolution thing, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, we've been in this industry for quite some time. January, maybe February, nice strong months. Mm-hmm. By March, it's like, where did it go?
Yeah, sometimes it's not even in,
it's like
in
2 weeks.
February. It's like
or they don't even
weeks.
start right.
Yeah,
they don't even start at the beginning.
Right. So what's the reasons why they don't start right?
I think, well, first and foremost, like, you know, we were talking before about like realistic goals.
Setting realistic expectations.
Yeah, right? Realistic expectations, right? And I think most people have this idea in their head, but what they do to plan it out is a different story.
Yeah.
So that process is not maybe a little unrealistic, or they don't have the proper plan that is that will fit them.
They generalize it. They go, all right, everybody's doing this, so therefore I got to do this. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to jump into Orange Theory. I got to jump into CrossFit. I got to jump into this. Like, and I'm not saying that's bad. It's just that they set their goals along the expectations of what everybody else is doing, right? They could just go too hard, too fast, too soon, right? Like, I got to bust my ass. I got to kill myself in the gym. And we find these studies, we go along with these studies that are based off of, hey, you only need 20 minutes to work out in order for you to get those results.
Yeah.
So, you know, and what is that, you know, like the Tabata training, you know, people want to get in, get out, get it done fast, right? But at the same time, they're killing themselves. All right, so tip number 1 is find something that fits your lifestyle. Find something that fits the individual. Find something that fits you, because if we're just jumping into exercises and the general what's the word, general programming, it might not fit you, and you might be jumping into overtraining, and that's something that we don't want. We want you guys to stick with something that will last forever. Rich Thurman had posted something on Instagram recently.
Oh, shout out to Rich Thurman.
Shout out to Rich
Coach
Thurman.
RT3, huh? Oh, 3, yeah. My bad.
RT3, right?
Yeah, RT3.
And he posted something that really hit. I mean, it said, what if moving was actually not a good thing for you, right? And it said something along the lines of stress. Like, if you're constantly stressed out, but a lot of people don't realize that working out is a stress. It could be a good stress, but it also can be a bad stress if you're putting too much into it.
Yeah.
And overtraining is a real thing, right?
Those cortisol hormones being released, right? Actually,
Exactly.
that's a good point. I had a client one time who I had to really realize that his lifestyle was already stressful, right? He would work at 5 a.m. till maybe 8 p.m. All through the day.
He's working.
He's in law, right? He was practicing law, and he was working. He actually didn't eat. He would eat
Yeah, I'd
later
kinda like
that night,
too, yeah.
after work, right? He'll get like whatever he can get. But he put on so much weight, and he was like, "What the fuck's going on?" Oh, sorry, are we supposed to?
Yeah, we can swear. We can swear.
He goes, "What the fuck's going on? I put all this weight on. I swear I only eat once a day. All through the day, he's like 2-3 cups of coffee, and and this was, I think I was in my 30s when I was training him, yeah. And my thing was like always been hit, right?
Yeah.
So I put him on hit.
Yeah.
He lost maybe 10 pounds in the first month or so. Then after that, it was just plateaued.
Yep.
And I was like, what the hell's going on, right? I was checking his food, everything, his activities. I come to realize he was already under stress all day, and here I am putting him in more stress.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, the approach is not right.
Yeah.
His hormone levels of, cortisol is over up here. So his body is like, retaining the weight, right?
Yeah.
So I totally went the other way and said, you know what, just walk. Mm-hmm. And that made much more of a difference.
Yeah, because, people talk shit about, they talk major trash about cardio. Like, cardio is going to kill you and cardio is going to do this. But again, at the same time, if that fits your lifestyle, like they say cardio is going to kill you, they also say cardio is going to be, like, too many people do too much cardio, right? And that could be a problem. Like, you hear bodybuilders, weightlifters talk shit about runners and overrun. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they're running, you're not going to get to where you need to be, but a lot of people do cardio to lose weight and so on and so forth. But what if if you take the whole losing weight aspect out of it and you start training mind and body at the same time, and you start decreasing the stress levels, maybe that's the first step that you need to take.
Yeah.
So it does come down to the subject, right?
The individual.
The individual, where we really have to figure out what their history is like, what their
current lifestyle
their
is,
lifestyle, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
and we can't just jump into the
general format.
The general format, exactly.
Here, follow this. You guys are gonna. Oh man, it reminded me of there was a trainer that was working with us. He wanted to get into physique, and he paid some guy like X amount of money to help coach him. But it was so generalized. The trainer was basically, he himself was starting to look kind of like deflated. In physique, you gotta look.
Yeah, you gotta look good. You gotta be
good.
upright. You gotta be.
He was ripped, but he looked really deflated because he was following a generalized program that this coach was giving him.
Yeah.
Versus, let's actually take a look at where you're at, what you want to do, how your body's going to react to these things, and creating an individualized goal, individualized program. But I mean, all the stuff we're talking about is, related to why the resolutions are actually failing.
Are failing?
It's not individualized. They make unrealistic goals for themselves. The plan is not, working for them.
And if that's something that you need help figuring out, that's where we're in. We're here to help you guys out. That's what SHFT is all about. And that's what Network Exercise Solutions is all about. We've been in the game for very long, over 25 years each of us.
More than 2 decades.
More than 2 decades. So
yep.
we've been around. We've seen people successfully grow their lifestyle and change their lifestyle, and we've seen people fail, and we don't want to see people fail, and that's what we're here for. So what exactly is overtraining, John?
So, what is overtraining? Overtraining is,
Too much talking on the phone at nighttime.
Feel like you're in high school again when you're not.
Inside joke.
Inside joke.
So overtraining. So overtraining for those that don't understand, those that don't know, is pushing yourself too hard and not getting enough rest, right? Thinking of calories in, calories out, and we're thinking about John's client there. He was eating 1 meal a day, right? And then all of a sudden he was doing HIIT training, right? And those are the overly stressed points that our body goes through, releasing cortisol. If you don't know what a cortisol is a hormone that is released in your body when stress when there is stress. So it brings sugar into the blood system to try to help manage your sympathetics. Your sympathetics is your fight or flight. You're ready to go out and fight. And that's your sympathetics being ramped up. And so our goal here is to try to make sure that we do something that works with overtraining, making sure that you don't hit it, right? And there's some symptoms that you fall into when you do overtrain, right? You're not as hungry. That's one. And everyone's gonna be like, wait, what? You're not as hungry. Sounds counterintuitive, but you're not as hungry because those cortisol levels are up. Your blood sugar levels are really high. So you start craving certain things like sweets. That's one. But you're never really hungry, right? You end up snacking a little bit more. Your sleep patterns are completely off, right? You feel good for like the first 2 days, maybe the first week or so, and then you realize you're cutting your calories. And your that calorie deficit that you have starts to affect your overall well-being, meaning you're starting to become more irritable, right? You're tired throughout the day, but you can't get any freaking sleep.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, right? Because we always talk about calories in versus calories out. There was a famous popular trainer that was that's it to that trainer. She was on TV, very influential, right? You know, I think we all know who she is. She was like, nope, it's all about calories in versus calories out.
Yeah.
And you know what they don't know is there's hormone levels that you gotta regulate and pay attention to, and it's not just calories in versus calories out. There's much more to it than that. But going back to overtraining, I think one of the things when people overtrain is they don't give themselves recovery time.
Yeah.
They don't understand what their bodies are able to do at what level. And because they're lacking those thoughts, because all they're thinking about is train hard, because that's what I see on media. Excuse me.
You gotta bust your ass.
Gotta, you know, was the old school thinking? No pain, no gain. No sweat, no gain.
No sweat, no gain.
No pain, no gain. But that's not always the case for most people. It's really understanding where you are as an individual, right? And then it goes into the cycle where, okay, train hard. Oh shoot, I kind of got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't give myself enough recovery.
That's another part of overtraining, right?
Yeah.
Is you injure yourself a lot. You injure yourself a lot faster.
Yeah. How many people do we come in here is like, oh man, I threw out my back.
Yeah.
Doing whatever, right? Actually, I'm gonna mention my older brother. He's gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why
are you talking about me?
He's an older brother. God bless him. He was like, all right, I gotta get back into my cycling. So he used to be an avid mountain biker, and got excited, man. You know,
Because you feel good.
Yeah,
You feel good.
he actually bought an e-bike.
Yeah.
Right. Spent all his money on an e-bike, and he calls me up one time. Hey, I'm about to go ride. I was like, okay, cool. So how many miles are you doing today? He said like 10 to 13 miles. I go,
Just right off.
wait a minute. This is your first like week or so, right?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, no, I'll be fine. The e-bike will be good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next thing you know, he calls me up. Hey, bro, I can't get up. The next day, he couldn't get up, right? I go, what's the matter? Oh, no, man, my leg hurts, bro. But see, the thing was, it kind of, you know, with who he is, he wanted to keep going. But I was like, hey, man, I don't know. You might want to do some recovery work, or you might need to do some, conditioning work, which people don't know. What do you mean conditioning work? Well, you got to be conditioned to do the exercise, right? Versus, no, I use the exercise right off the get because I'm going to hit my goal. Yeah, but you can't just go and like start a 13-mile bike ride when you haven't even ridden 2 miles of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so that's that whole overtraining. And then no recovery process, which can lead to injury.
Yeah.
And then cycles back and goes, shoot, I'm injured, so I'm not going to move anymore. I'm not going to train anymore.
Yeah.
And there goes your resolution.
Absolutely.
Right?
And, that brings me to that story that I was just thinking about when you were talking about it, because it has a lot to do with like brain health too. We have these hormones that are just pushing us and are excited and we feel good about it. And
that dopamine.
And that dopamine levels. Like we have an ability to go out and just do the work.
Yep.
And we know how much we could push ourselves. And again, we no pain, no gain, right? But this brings me to that book that I was reading. I read it a while ago, so you got to excuse me with the names inside it. But it's called The Brain's Way of Healing by Norman Deutsch. And there was a story in there about a guy that started experiencing Parkinson's syndrome. He started experiencing symptoms of Parkinson's. The story goes, the doctor, the reason why he was able to fight off of these Parkinson's syndrome symptoms was he followed a program. And there was a guy back in the 40s and 50s who created this cardiovascular program. And the doctor, he would work out every single day, he said. He used to walk, he used to run, he used to do all this type of stuff, but he couldn't do it anymore. And so his wife said, follow the program. And so he looked at the program and he's like, oh, this is bullshit. It's such a crappy program. They go to a track, and the track was walk around the track one time for the first week.
Okay.
And you do that 2 to 3 times a week. And so he walked around the track once, twice, and he was like, oh my gosh. He goes, this is not going to work. And he tells his wife. And his wife goes, no, just follow it. Just get out of your own mindset and just follow it. And so he goes, nope, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so he followed the program. And in week 2, walk around the track twice. That's it. Go back home. So he's like, I work out so much more harder than this, and I know I can. He said, nope, don't do anything else. Just walk around this track twice. And then it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then slowly his symptoms started dropping more and more and more. And so later on, he goes back to get reassessed. And they're like, well, you didn't have real Parkinson's syndrome then. And that was the problem. So my point in telling all of this stories is that you have to take a step back and stop following what the general prescription is, which is bust your ass, no pain, no gain. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Those are things that I used to personally say, but it's not. But during the time now, you have to follow a program. You have to follow the professional's advice that has done this stuff before. And that's, again, something that we do with, making sure that people don't overtrain, right? That's where we are at SHFT and Network Exercise Solutions is we want to make sure that you guys stay on track with these goals and don't overtrain. Again, taking the individual into an account, checking their movement patterns, assessing what their dysfunction is. And when we find that those dysfunctional patterns, we retrain it. So that way we can prevent injury, right? And we can recover better, right?
Yeah, right.
And when we talk about recovery is going to be number 3 on the list here. But we have to find the right ways to recover if we're going to be able to combat overtraining, high stress.
Right.
And so what exactly is recovery? What do we need to do for recovery? What do you think?
So here's where I think people miss out on what recovery. First and foremost, they don't understand what it means, right? So what does that mean? Okay, a lot of times I think the general population will say, oh, I
gotta fucking rest.
I just gotta rest.
I gotta sleep.
Yes, and that is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Definitely a big part of it. But they miss out on other things, such as when we talk about, you said mobility, right? So mobility is working the joint through its ranges of motion, having control, maybe working on strength and flexibility as well, right? That can be a recovery because you're stimulating your body in a different stress level, and it's usually not as high.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sort of like nowadays when people get injured. Right. Back in the day, you get injured, don't move it, ice it, elevate it, all this, rice. Right. But now you're immobilizing it. But how long do you immobilize it for? Right. And in the past, it'd be like, man, this guy is immobilized for like 2-3 months or even longer.
Yeah.
Right? Because they never really understood that, you could reduce pain right away, immobilize it, but that's only for a small time frame, right? And so they don't get into moving it again, trying to create new patterns,
It's
stimulating, right?
I think goes along with the whole pain side of thing is inflammation. Right?
Inflammation,
And
right.
what a lot of people don't realize is that we're not trying to get rid of inflammation, because the inflammation is part of the healing process.
It's natural. It's supposed to. There's the nutrients are coming in. Right?
Exactly.
Protection.
We've got to control inflammation. Our goal is not to decrease inflammation altogether, because
Not all the time,
that's an innate part of our life. That's part of what our body is
the
able to do in
physiology
order
of it,
to to fix things, right? But like cold plunges, right, or cold therapies. Although I love it,
showers.
it's just I wouldn't consider that a recovery portion in a way that you're trying to help with strength or muscle building. It's a recovery in a different sense. It's a recovery in a way that can help with liver function, blood flow, cardiovascular. It can help with the immune system. That's where the ice baths and stuff can come into play. But if we're just trying to decrease inflammation, that's actually going to inhibit our muscle gains, our strength gains, our movement gains with just the ice bath. Inflammation, what we've got to do with recovery is work on pushing it around, moving it. And that's what you're talking about, is the whole mobility aspect. We continue to move. We just don't move as intense as we're supposed to, right? High intensity training, that's not a recovery. It's going to be, hey, let's go for a walk, right? Be out in nature, right? Being out in nature, there's a lot of studies in just being in a park, right? And grounding and talking, and that helps with inflammation too. That helps push the inflammation out. And that's a connection that helps with the brain as well, right? Limitless. There was a show on Disney Plus, Limitless, with Chris Hemsworth, and I love that show because he actually talks about it, right? He talks about how it can actually help with like the overstimulation that we're having with our brain,
100%,
right?
100%. It goes back to that, like, knowing what your body needs, right? Again, that client that was already high stress. Now I'm doing interval training, high intensity interval training, and not knowing that, okay, they need the other side.
Yeah.
Right? And most people miss that.
Yeah.
Because we're in that society where it's all about the grind. It's all about the grind. It's all about the grind, right? But you're like, well, you got to balance that.
Yeah.
Right? And that recovery aspect, in all sense of it, not just the workout and exercise, but also in social and, your day-to-day living, is you have to have recovery. Sleep is one of them. These mobility exercises that we do is one of them.
Sleep is a big one.
To take the misconception of like chiropractic adjustment, right? People are still like questioning it, even though there's like decades of research and practice and all this. And I mean, that's a part of it, right? Doing the adjustment, freeing out the energy meridians and avenues and making sure your body is able to recover. And then what else do we do? We connect it to, some of our therapies.
Yeah. Massage. Again, massage is another tool for you to decrease inflammation, right? Or control inflammation, not necessarily decrease it. Right. With chiropractic, it's been shown to help with HRV. And for a lot of people that don't know what HRV is, it's heart rate variability. You may be able to see that on your Apple Watch, on your heart rate monitors and stuff. But heart rate variability is something that's been being studied more and more and more. And it's basically, in a nutshell, it's the way you adapt to the stresses in your life. Your heart rate is not going to be consistent. Your body is just constantly fighting from a relaxation state to a stress state. And the more it actually fights back and forth, the more you're so-called balanced, right? And that's where heart rate variability comes in. And they have the general numbers for each age range where you should be in, but the more variability you have, the more your body is able to adapt to the stresses that you're putting on it. I worked with CCSP, which is the Chiropractic Sports Physicians certification, and I would talk with the doctors of the Olympics, right? The USOC would be there. The chiropractors and physical therapists would actually help teach us through that. And one of the things that they would talk about is they used heart rate variability as a determination if an athlete was going to be able to perform or not.
Yeah. Sure.
And if they were screwing around, if they weren't getting the sleep that they were getting, right? they were on it like police, right? Like, what's wrong? How do we figure this out? How do we? And they would look at these numbers and see how stressed out their body was, or how they were able to adapt. And if they weren't, they had to work on recovery right away. Right. So with chiropractic adjustments, and this is the reason why I got into this, was with an adjustment, it's been shown to increase heart rate variability, right? Some people may get better sleep at night, right? I get this from my patients all the time. Like, dude, I was able to knock out. I was able to sleep for the first time in forever, right? And, I can't say, one of the things that that what we do is we don't necessarily say that this fixes it all, right?
No.
Our goal is to try to get your body to adapt better, right? To be able to control your movement a little bit better. You're able to feel better. And that's really what we're trying to get going, right? And if we can make you feel better when you go to bed, and you could get better hours or more hours of sleep, your stress levels are you're starting to learn how to adapt to your stress.
All connected.
And it's not necessarily just decreasing your stress, it's adapting
And
to
that's
your
a
stress.
part of the recovery.
Exactly.
Right?
Huge.
Part of recovery.
And so that's the stuff that we do here is, right, chiropractic adjustments, massage, and making sure that you don't overtrain. That's what our training aspects go for, right? We don't take it beyond that, right? And in our case at Shift, we're working on what we call the movement pyramid, right? Where we're at the base. We just work on functional, foundational patterns, right? Functional has been used a lot nowadays, but our fundamental patterns, right? How do we control our movements? And that's what our corrective exercise specialists work on, fundamental patterns there. And sometimes it needs more, soft tissue mobilizations, right? Passive work. Sometimes it needs active work.
Right.
But, when we talk about the whole movement is medicine aspect of things, we have to be careful when and how far we push that. Right. So that's part of the whole recovery aspect of what we do here. More sleep. How do we know that we got better sleep? Right. And there are certain markers on top of that we use. Is, for me, for example, I use the Whoop. I mean, there's a lot of different other things out there. There's Garmin. They have
Whoop?
the Whoop. WHOOP.
Oh.
I got this from
Whoop.
Mike Knoll. He's a professional bodybuilder. Mike came up to me one day and he's like, "How do you know? How do you know this is helping you?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm losing weight." He goes, "How do you know you're losing the right weight?" And again, I've been in this shit for a long time, man.
Sure.
We've both been in this since the early 2000s, since the 90s, right? And so I was like, you know what? You're right, dude. How do I check these metrics? He goes, "Check the Whoop." That's one of the things that I use for all my clients to just make sure that we're, the diet that we're on, the exercises that we're on, we're not overtraining. And that's where that's how I can check my heart rate variability. I can check my sleep patterns, if I'm getting enough sleep, and what happens if I do see a negative in my recovery, right? What did I do the night before? And that's where my journal comes in on this device. Where did my journal come in from the night before? And how did I do? Did I eat like shit? Did I properly recover? Did I sleep well? And there's a few things that I've been playing around with my body over the last year and trying to figure out how I'm able to get to where I need to be. And I know my bad patterns, but there's an external source that's telling me that I'm doing something wrong, right? And I'm like, shit, I gotta stick to this. I drank the night before, right? I drank, what does my recovery look like? And it really hits you, right? Yeah, your recovery is only 23% out of 100.
Right.
You're not getting to your goal.
Yeah, most
right?
people don't know that alcohol stays in you for a long time.
Yeah, and that I have a NutriSense glucose monitor, and that with playing with that and this, one of the things that I've seen is like, if we're touching upon the alcohol subject, alcohol it doesn't mess you up right away. No. Obviously, you have a toxin that's in your system. You feel drunk, you buzz, all that stuff, but what I've noticed is over a week span, the recovery is the shit. Yeah. And so I started to look into it deeper. That's
straight detox for that time frame.
Your liver really has a problem. So my blood sugar levels, for example, actually drop when I drink alcohol. Because apparently in the research, it shows that you your liver wants to take care of the alcohol first
Right.
before it wants to take care of the blood sugar. So your blood sugar levels actually drop. However, afterwards, the reason why you get so hungry and the reason why you want to eat like shit is because now your blood sugar levels have dropped so much
low.
that you're trying to actually increase blood sugar. So
back
you,
again, so you get
try
hungry,
to
you
eat
wanna
some
eat.
crappy
Yeah.
food. Let's get the pizza. Let's get the salogs. Let's get let's get the Filipino food, the rice. So we want food after we drink. And so, but I also noticed that it's not just that. It's afterwards, the week after.
Oh, yeah.
My blood sugar levels are just constantly out of whack. In my case, in my understanding, because my liver's trying to heal.
Yeah. Oh,
Right, because
yeah,
of what
100%.
I've done with it, right? And it's not just one or two drinks. If I'm drinking socially, there's a couple of drinks.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And so my body's just trying to heal from all of that stuff. So the whole recovery pattern, in that sense, is all shit.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what people have to stick to, is they have to stick to a goal. They have to stick to their recovery. They've got to stay on point with checking their metrics, right? Not just, I'm just going to throw this away just for the day. People that go on keto, for example, they eat they eat so well, and then all of a sudden, like, I can cheat one day.
Literally, no,
Keto
that
doesn't
it
work
throws
that
you
way,
off.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
It takes you another week or two to get back in ketogenic levels. And
Exactly.
so,
It actually takes like 14 days.
yeah,
Right.
about 14 days.
so-
There were some studies that say that some people can get into it in about a week.
Yeah.
But I think that's
It also takes fasting and
there's so many other aspects to it, and that's the thing, right? And here it is, right? Okay, unrealistic goals is not individualized. People get injured and they don't recover right, right? And then what are now also dealing with? What are the trends?
Yeah.
Like we're trendy people.
Yeah.
So we follow what the trend is, right?
Yep.
So they'll get into these fad diets too, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, is it actually sustainable?
Yeah.
I always tell my clients, is what we're doing right now sustainable for
Yep.
you?
Yep.
If it's not sustainable, then that means you're not able to adapt to it, and it's not really functioning for you properly. Right?
Exactly.
So I mean, all of this stuff is connected.
Yeah.
It's not just one aspect, and that's why if we don't touch upon these things, people fail in their New Year's resolution.
Exactly.
Right.
And so in our tip for recovery and staying on track for that is know what your sleep patterns are like, right? Find devices that actually help you, that can keep you on track, that can focus on.
Smart watches do it.
Smartwatches do it.
Yeah.
You don't always have to hit, like I have to hit 1,000 steps a day. Yes, you do. That's a great thing. 1,000 steps is still not enough. But understand like the metrics that work for you, right? We have to find how your body is adapting to these exercises. And again, comes back to overtraining. Make sure that we don't overtrain by making sure that we allow for proper recovery. And the only way that we're going to know that we're recovering properly is, for one, getting professional help. And that's where we're at.
We're
we
here.
want to make sure that you're hitting the amount of calories that you're supposed to be hitting, right?
Yeah.
Just speak to a trainer, talk to a trainer on that type of stuff, right? Like, how many calories should you be taking in? I had a patient that came in and was complaining that their trainer that helped him to lose weight in the first place, his trainer was saying, you need to eat, 2,700 calories. And he's like, no, what? I'm not supposed to be eating 2,700 calories because the general study or the general guideline shows I've got to eat 1,200 calories, 1,500. And I told him straight out, you've got to have calories to burn calories.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't match your specific body, you're not going to get to that.
Well, that's
so
the
you
thing,
need
right?
the metrics.
It's so generalized. Like basal metabolic calorie, BMR, and what they say is like, you can't go below 1,200 calories.
Yeah, because you burn BMR is your basic.
That's just for you to
how
be
many
able to
calories,
survive.
Yeah,
right.
Your base amount of calories that you normally burn on a daily basis.
Right, and that's just to survive.
Yeah.
Now you're not even talking about moving, walking, working. So your calories actually requirements go up. Up. If you're only eating over here and your requirements are here, ideally you're like, that's that deficit that I need so that I could lose weight. Well, actually, if you go too far down here, then your body becomes more in a point where it's trying to just survival mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you're not optimizing your caloric expenditure.
Yeah.
And that's where your metabolism slows down, your energy's low,
And that's where the
and it goes through
overtraining
the whole
comes
cycle,
in. Yep.
right?
Exactly.
But yeah, that's another topic.
So, when we talk about diet, we're going to bring
get
in
on
some
to that,
professionals in here that, some experts in diet and exercise or diet that can help us with talking about, the different fads that are out there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
what actually does work. And then off the top of my head right now, I think I want to bring in Jeanette, but we'll have her talk a little bit more.
Yeah,
about
there's
that
a lot of
type
different
stuff too,
approaches, man, because there's the RDs that go this way, and then you got some of the other folks that go
Nutritionists,
this
that's right.
way.
Yeah, and here's the thing about this podcast, open mind, right? There's so many freaking professionals out there. There's so many different ideas. There's so many different research out there. And what we're trying to do is understand that you've got to keep an open mind when it comes to your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we have out there is what works for you, right? And research is a big part. What do they call it? A three-legged stool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Research is one part. You have experience, and then you have philosophy, right? There's everybody has those three legs of the stool when it comes to their profession. But what we normally want to do is look at those three legs and adapt and apply it to everything.
What
can actually work for you. And that's where we're going to be going with this podcast, is giving you guys more information about health and wellness and movement and what can actually be affected by how can all of those affect the individual. We've got to keep an open mind. Sometimes we'll have arguments, but, professional arguments, but at the same time, we have to keep an open mind in order to be successful in the health field. We have, recovery, support. You talked a little bit more about the self-deterring theory.
Self-determination theory. This is the theory that says this is why we will adhere to something, or at least, when we do goal settings where we'll actually create these changes, right? There's also the whole the 5 to 6 steps of change.
Yeah.
But the self-determination theory talks about 3 points that we as humans have to touch upon in order for us to continue to adhere to any change that we're trying to do. Yeah. Right? Okay. So the first one is called autonomy. You're like, what is that? Not anatomy, autonomy.
So what is autonomy?
Autonomy is basically giving the self freedom to make the choice of what it is that we need to do.
Oh, say that again.
So you have the freedom to make the choices, to make the options, to take the steps forward, right? Versus you have 2 kids, little girls, right? Mm-hmm. When you tell them not to do something, what kind of response do you get?
Actually, my girls are really good.
They're really good, actually.
They are really good.
They're really good.
But yeah,
most kids, most of the time they get more curious about something because they want to have some sort of control.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, my little one. I was
going to say, the little one's probably the one that will be like, why? I want to touch it. That's hot. Don't touch it. What? This one is not hot? Autonomy is having that self-option, self-control to be able to make these changes on their own without having to feel like they're not in control. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because human psyche, most of the time we want to have control of everything. Mm-hmm. So you got to give them that feeling of like, yes, here's your goals, here's your what you want to make changes for. You have the option on how to do it. Mm-hmm. Versus I'm just being told. Yeah. Right? The second piece is competence. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's competence? Well, this is, as you know, we're also in the realm of education. Mm-hmm. What do? You're educating patients, clients, and even the other doctors that work for SHFT, right? Yeah. Because you want them to achieve some kind of competence on what you're trying to accomplish and learn, right? Yeah. So the human psyche is saying, okay, do I know how to do this? Because if I don't know how to do this, I feel a little more anxiety. I feel like, okay, I can't do this. Yeah. Versus You've learned how to do it. Now you know you're able to.
So it goes along that point, what the general prescription is, right? And that's where, the whole psyche comes into play, where people will want to jump into something because that's what is prescribed by the overall population. Get in, get out, fast, done, quick, done.
Yeah.
And if you don't know a lot about it, that's where the failure starts to come in.
Right, exactly.
And so that's where we, again, as Shift and Network Exercise Solution comes in is we're going to try to give you that competence, right? We're going to give you that education, that understanding of how to get back.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Dr. Joe, this thing hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you could try this, and then I'll try this at home.
Yes.
So anytime you feel this, there's your solution for it.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because this is what happens.
Yep.
And so the more competent people feel, then the more they would most likely adhere to it.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. So exactly. Moving with pain, for example, that's another thing. It's like the more you're competent about it, the more you understand it, because once you're in pain, a lot of people don't like to do anything. They just like to, oh my God, I'm stuck, or I'll stretch because that's what was prescribed before, right? I gotta stretch instead. And when they come into the office, I'm like, no, wrong. You got to actually work on it. You got to strengthen it. You got to do some movements with it.
Right. So
Not
you
necessarily
empower
just
them
stretching.
so that they feel
Exactly.
confident about the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's competence. That's number 2.
So that's number 2 in the self-determination theory. And the last piece that will create adherence is relatedness. So what is that? So meaning being able to relate, make connections, know that maybe I'm not by myself in this process. Other people have done it before.
Yeah.
I can relate to what it is. So again, it kind of encompasses the whole thing, right? You have the option to do it. Feel like you're competent in
like
what
you
the
have
process is,
education,
and then now I can make connection with others that have done it before, and I feel there's a relatedness around.
Yeah, there's a relationship.
So that those
which
three,
comes to the individual again.
right, and those 3 things in this theory is what creates more adherence to what we're doing and to the goals that are in hand, which will allow
stick with it.
Yeah, and because it'll become more adaptable
Yeah.
and then sustainable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to it. And if people are not feeling this 3 aspects of it, there's a higher probability that they won't adhere to the program.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, this is all high level general stuff, and we can get more specific.
Yeah.
Per individual.
Yeah.
Right. So
which
that
is,
they don't fall.
on the point of relatedness, that's what I love about the classes that you see out there, right? Like CrossFit Potrero Hill, for example. One of the things that I love about relatedness is that they bring in the community aspect of CrossFit, and they put it together, and they. But back in the day when they first started, we used to think it was like, oh, is this cultish? This is, like, oh, what is this? It's actually, the relatedness.
It's community, man.
You're talking about that. It's community.
Yep.
I love it. I love how, some people have done really well with it. And there's not a lot of, there's some gyms, just like any trainers that you go to, some gyms have it, some gyms don't. CrossFit Potrero Hill, for example, is one of those places that I've seen the community aspect really come together, the relatedness, and it keeps people on their goals. So there's a little kick out to you guys at CrossFit Potrero Hill. You guys do an amazing job. I love the community aspect of things that you guys do out there.
Shout out.
The people that you guys bring together, and you guys have people sticking to goals.
Yeah.
So that's awesome when it comes to the self-determination theory.
Yeah. And that's, I think if most people actually just acknowledge this and understand, it hopefully will help them, continue with achieving that goal and not be a part of that 80% of failure of New Year's resolutions or anything actually, right?
Yeah. And that brings us into our next point, which is the last tip, which is number 5, which is the support. Right? What's your support system look like? I talked about CrossFit Potrero Hill and looking at that support system, the community aspect of things. That understanding that people are in it together through that people are in it together when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Yes, we have a ton of people that are in it, but who are you going to relate to? Who are you going to find that's your support system to help keep you going? I talked to my wife, for example, right?
Your partner in life, right?
My partner in life.
Are they a
and
good
she
support
had
for you?
eczema she had an eczema problem, and we went on this diet together, and we stuck with it, and it helped both of us out in a different way. And those are the things that you guys got to find the people that are closest to you that are influencing you in the right way.
Yep.
Right? And
Support,
if you don't have that influence, if you don't have that positive influence in your life, you know, maybe you need to relook at some things, right? And that's probably the hardest part about it all, right? People that are influencing you to do shitty things. Yeah, right? Those fucking guys that make you drink all the
All
time.
night?
Jesus.
Stay
Man.
up till what time?
There's another topic. Who's making you guys
I'm your
drink all
support
night?
system. Oh, shit. My bad,
I'm
my bad.
your coffee system.
Excuse
But
me.
you know,
I have napkins.
who's your support system? Who's helping you out? Who's bringing you to that table that's making you guys, you know that you guys are going to be successful, right?
You gotta. That's actually such a big thing, right? Because you gotta kind of look around you and like, all right, so who here is at that level that I want to be at?
Yeah.
Right. Not
Or
to say,
who can you bring along?
right? Or who you could influence with you, or
Yeah.
whatnot, right? Because this goes different ways, right? You know, what I mean, because I work with groups, right? And I've worked with groups where if the group is really into it, they all like influence each other to do better.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And get well and get fit. I've also interviewed groups that were on the other spectrum where they know they were unhealthy. They all want to get healthy,
Yeah.
but yet the patterns of this group right here still continues that path of staying unhealthy.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're so resistant to any kind of change because as a group, that's how they feel connected.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So it comes to the support system is so big. So you're mentioning your wife, right? And
People that are
making,
closest to you.
right, and making like your environment now more stress-free and really cater to that goal that you're trying to achieve, right? Like for example, a little personal note, my pops is you guys know he's diabetic and whatnot, and it's hard for an older person to create different habit changes.
Yeah.
But it's even harder when your partner is still in that same path.
Yeah. She's like, you do it.
Right.
This is not my life. This is your life. Right?
I'm still buying all this stuff that you shouldn't eat, but I'm eating it because I'm fine.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So it's tougher.
Yeah.
It's tougher in
Big time.
that sense. So your support system does have to it does matter, and you got to have that. And
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, you can't just go through this individually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes now also the support system in a professional level.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, who are you going to actually work with to help support you on
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
So
Finding that team that works with you.
coaches, therapists, chiros, right? That's going to be helping you into this journey and give you that proper support, right?
Yep.
Like, I've had, for example, people that I just want to lose weight, blah, 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 and get healthy. They hire a trainer because they look good.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
are they giving you the right support?
Yeah. Are they teaching the right, like all that shit
Right.
that you see on Instagram or on TikTok? And,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to be lifting couches on my back.
God.
And
Oh, dude.
Just because I look good, I can
What's
lift
that
a-
guy that was hanging
Yeah,
on that
he's
thing?
lifting, like,
and then he had a
chairs.
spin bike while he was hanging.
Oh,
What
my
are you doing?
God.
What are you doing?
Oh, my
But
God.
the support has to be right.
Yeah.
And it also becomes that.
It doesn't have to be because they look good or
No,
they feel good.
no. I would tell
who-
people,
who
like,
matches you.
dude,
Different relationship.
Jerry Rice didn't have the most fit trainer.
No. No.
You know what I mean?
No.
He was probably on a
Paying for the
scooter.
ride.
I don't know. I don't even know how.
So did Little Mac in Tyson's Punch Out.
The Punch Out, Little Max trainer.
Little Mac, you saw him riding a bike.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
So-
that's right. Little Mac.
Support trainer, the support, the person that you're looking to that fits you, your
Persons
person.
too, like
Because
as
you're
a
making,
group.
exactly,
Yeah.
you're making relationships with people. And just like you're getting in a relationship, how is that person being more toxic to you? Or how are they actually supporting
Yeah.
you and helping you out?
And it's not
And
necessarily.
that's the professional level that we're talking about.
And now I'm finding also, when you get these coaches, you can't really have people that's going to be just judgmental,
Exactly.
because it creates much more of a negative experience for the individual,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I'm scared of my trainer.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
no.
unless it does work for you.
It works.
If it does work
to
for
a
that
certain
person.
degree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, but how many of those actually work negatively because
Yeah.
they go back to old patterns versus, like I said, you have more confidence, have more choice.
Yeah.
Be more in a setting where you're not getting judged so much,
Yeah.
in a negative way.
Yeah. And again,
so you gotta look
that
at-
relationship
Yeah.
that it has to be healthy,
Right.
right? Not necessarily in a scared relationship or an abusive relationship. When I say abusive, it doesn't have to be physically abusive. It can be very much mentally abusive as well.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that something fits you and makes you more positive about yourself, gives you more power to yourself. So that way, again, tying it all back in, you're walking with better posture. You're adapting to your environment a little bit better. You're not overtraining. You're feeling better. You're recovering better, right? And that's what it all comes down to is, the more you feel better about yourself, the more you adhere, the more you stick to your goals. And the New Year's resolution is not just new year, new me. It's new life, new me, new life forever. That's something that's going to stick with you.
Yep.
Like E.T., a hip hop trainer, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
E.T.
Dude, I
So
used
he's
to-
on there too.
Okay.
I watched that guy. He's
pretty
awesome,
dope.
dude.
He's
He's
pretty
cool.
dope. Yeah.
So he had a guest speaker on there, and he was saying there was a guy that goes, there, imagine yourself like a rocket, right? You have all these things pushing you up into space, and there are certain people that were there to elevate you, but they were never there to be with you through the end. They were never there to see you through space. They were never there to be seeing you at your most successful period, but they were there to elevate you. And they have to break off in order to get you to where you need to be. And that's what that support system, the people that you trust, sometimes people are not going to be there forever to help you get to where you need to be, right? But one of the things that I say for myself out here, especially when we started this business, I didn't do this stuff on my own, all right? And I always had people helping me out. I've always had people supporting me. And sometimes the people that were there that helped me through this and helped me build this thing, they're not here anymore. And although I appreciate them, I love them, I was thankful. It just wasn't a place for them to continue to help keeping me grow.
Right. It's so in ethnic studies, we studied before. They mentioned the crab mentality. You ever heard of that?
No.
So, crab mentality. Here's a bucket full of crab. They're trying to get out as a goal.
Yeah.
One crab goes up and is almost there. Guess what the other crab does?
So it crawls up on top of them?
No, pulls them down.
Oh.
Right? So there's that also in the support system. Are the people around you giving you a crab mentality? Whereas I'm trying to elevate myself. Are you actually there like encouraging me? Or are you actually trying to pull me down to your level still?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there is that
You have those
aspect of
toxic
love.
people, man.
And I've seen changes with my clients that actually have gotten rid of, but at least they've distanced themselves from people that are toxic because they're not supporting them in the proper manner that that person needs.
Oh, so we're at this age
Yeah.
where we've seen we've had
We just talked about this just a
yeah,
minute
we
ago.
were literally
We
just
were in the
talking
car
about
this.
best friends, groomsmen, like they there were certain people that we don't necessarily they just go, right?
They just don't. They're not fitting.
And that whole crab mentality of
Yeah.
pulling people back down
Yeah.
to your level. They may act like there's some, and this is the probably the most toxic one, is the one that acts as your best friend and is there for you, but is rooting for you to fail.
Yeah.
And those are the ones
Subconsciously, they are.
they
right?
are,
Without
because
even
they
knowing it.
hate to see
You succeed.
your success,
Yeah.
because they're not there,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
those are the ones that are the hardest to fish out
Yeah.
and figure out who that is,
Yeah.
I think it happens to everybody, right?
Because we're all growing differently, right? Yeah. We're all growing differently. And for the most part, I think for us, and the people we work with, we've created an environment where it's all about elevating each other, right? Mm-hmm. In the past, there's always been this competition with people.
Yeah.
Although in certain scenarios, competition is good, it should never be just to break the other person down. It's actually now what we've done in our environment.
It's like a shady way of doing it.
Yeah. For us now, let's elevate people.
Right? Elevate, because if you elevate,
I'm getting elevated.
Yeah, everybody else is.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's that support system we're talking about. And if you have to really consider, I'm not saying you got to get rid of friends and family. I'm saying just, if they're not there to support you in what you're trying to achieve, right now it's all about my wellness, right? Yeah. And, recovery and everything we've talked about, then maybe they shouldn't be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then you find the support that you do need, whether it's other circle of friends or different communities, joining certain groups.
Yeah.
And here at SHFT, we're always, supporting everybody in what they do. Yep. Then do that. Yeah. Find that better support for you. Yeah. Go find a professional if you need to. Shoot.
Because that support system is going to be able to get you to where you need to be.
Sometimes people may not want to invest in it financially, but I'm telling you, most people that do find the right support, and if they have to invest on it financially, it will be all worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's a long-term thing, right? It's not a short-term thing. Yeah. You're looking at long-term, and even if you have to, again, we say investment. Right, financial investment for that, and that financial investment is going to carry on for years to come, and that's what we look at here. And if you look at all the stuff that we do, it's, that financial investment is really small compared to the bigger things, right? Yeah. Like with all your insurance bills and your medical bills that you've got to pay for, later on. Right. This is a small investment to know and to get that competency, to get that education that you're supposed to have. To better yourself for the rest of your freaking life, right? And support system is a big thing, right? And when it comes to you at home, your friend life, your relationships that you have at home and at your work, but then professionally as well, right? Who are you going to get to be a part of your team? Mm-hmm. And it's it's like a shopping list. You have, Walgreens brand medicine, and you have your pharmacy recommended medicine, right? Your brand name medicine out there. Which one's going to work for you, right? Yeah. And some of them have the same stuff in them, and some of them might not be as strong. Changes, and there's some slight changes, but they all have the same professional along with it. How is it going to support you mentally, and how is it going to be able to elevate you like that rocket, right? Yeah. How is it going to be able to lift you and keep you there, keep you going to where you need to get to? Yep. So it's a huge thing, man.
100%, man. You need that support, and don't have too much ego where you don't think you need support. We all do.
Yeah, that's where ego lifting comes, and that's another topic later on.
Right there, right.
But the whole ego aspect of things is also a big problem when it comes to the whole, determination and the psyche behind all of that stuff. Yeah, so
100%.
I know we didn't touch upon every single detail there is out there. That's something that we will be going forward with, and we will be talking over the next few podcasts about on the next few talks. Yeah. But we will try to hit as much as we can. I mean, there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, it'd be good too if anybody that's watching and listening to us, that if you have any topics that you want us to cover within the wellness realm, health, fitness, exercise, nutrition, anything that has to do with that.
Yeah, what
let us know.
Do you guys
have? Let us know, and we'll touch upon what's out there in research, what we've done in the last 2.5 decades on this topic, anecdotally and professionally. We'll try to bring our thoughts, experience, and share it with everybody, and then also get feedback from everyone. And you can't ever take everybody's facts to be real. It could be BS, so question what we're talking about, and we'd love to have conversations.
And that's what science is, right?
Conversation, man.
Conversation, question.
Don't get mad at me if I'm asking you a question about it.
There's a lot of shit out there. There's going to be people that are going to be hating.
That's a whole different story right there. We can talk about that.
That's the whole
all
point
day.
of this, right? That we've got to be able to talk about this stuff. We've got to be able to communicate this stuff. Yeah. There's not just one side to every story. There's multiple angles that we've got to look at it from that help the individual. And that's what it comes down to, is the individual. It comes down to you and how we're going to be able to help you guys out.
Yeah, and to just, summarize everything. Good luck with everybody's New Year's resolution.
Happy New Year.
If you guys need some help, holler at us. Come through. Shift is out here in Daly City, California.
Yes.
I do some work online if you need some coaching.
We all do some work online. Yeah, we do some work online. Right. Even if you guys are so far away and you guys can't reach out to us, you guys can't come to the office. There's other ways that we can make this work for you guys. We can guide you through your pain. We can guide you through your movements. We can assess you over the phone, online, or best way to go, creating that relationship in person with us here.
Holler at us.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by.
Move
better.
See you again.